Call to order Board of Trustees regular meeting Thursday, December 16th, 2021 at 5:30 PM. Roll call, Trustee Archuleta.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumbelow.
Present.
Trustee Lopez.
Present.
Trustee Baca.
Present.
Thank you. Opening prayer, Trustee Archuleta, would you do the prayer and Trustee Lopez do the pledge?
Lord, we just come before you and we ask that you protect us all, give us guidance to make decisions tonight and then unite hereafter. We also pray that everybody has a good Christmas this year. And hopefully everybody can get together with their families without any worries of COVID-19, and everybody comes out with this not sick. And hopefully we get over this and get away from it. Please be with the first responders, our military through these hard times, and anyone who's lost anybody. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we're going to stop our meeting for a little while, and what you see on number 5 is hearing. We would encourage anybody in the audience that has any concerns about the ordinance 272, which is cannabis, and 273, which is pawn, to come forward and voice their concerns if they have any.
Motion to adjourn.
I move to
I
adjourn.
need, we need a motion to adjourn. Okay. I need a motion to adjourn so we can.
I motion, I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Trustee Archuleta, second by Trustee Baca. Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Baca.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumbelow.
Yes.
Trustee Archuleta.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so
Commenting on the Facebook page.
So the purpose of the hearing is to get public comments on cannabis and the pawn ordinance. Anyone have any comments, concerns? Okay. We can reconvene the meeting.
okay, I need a motion to reconvene the meeting.
Make a motion to reconvene the meeting.
Motion by Trustee Baca, second by Trustee Lopez. Trustee Archuleta.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumbelow.
Yes.
Trustee Baca.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda. Before we ask for a motion to approve the agenda. The letter A, 12, number 12, letter A. If he's not here in time, we're just gonna move it down till he gets here. And then we're gonna delete letter L, which would be direction of police bonds. Then I need a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the agenda with the deletion of letter L. And moving letter A. If we need to. I'll second it.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Brumbelow, second by Trustee Lopez. Trustee Baca.
Yes.
Trustee Archuleta.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumbelow.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Thank you. Public comments. Do we have anybody that wants? Okay, we shall continue. Approval of minutes. Village of Milan public hearing, November 18th, 2021. Board of Trustees regular meeting, November 18th, 2021.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for the Village of Milan public hearing, November 18th, 2021. And for the Board of Trustees regular meeting, November 18th, 2021.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Trustee Archuleta, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Brumbelow. Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Baca,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumbo,
Yes.
Trustee Archuleta.
Yes.
Thank you. Approval of budget report for November 2021.
Are you saying we're kind of homeland?
Thanks, sir.
So I changed the GRT sheet a little bit. I added a new line to it. There's a straight fuchsia line that goes all the way across. That line represents what we anticipated getting for the year. So that's what was budgeted. As you can see, our line is well above that. We're doing well in GRTs. And overall, for the past few years, we're still showing an uptick. So that's a good thing for us. We're about halfway through the year at the end of the month. So we're doing pretty good. The departments are monitoring their budgets. We do have concerns as far as fuel. We talked about that a little bit at the workshop. What I've asked the departments to do is look and see if they know they're not going to spend $5,000 on computer program or a new shovel, or I don't know what they buy. But if they're not going to spend it on that, if they can move that into the fuel until we can adjust at mid-year, we'll know where we are standing with GRTs, with our expenditures, and we can move money in to cover those fuel. And because our GRTs are higher, that gives us a little bit of wiggle room. We can ask for a budget adjustment from the state to increase those fuel lines. I did also ask them to start being mindful of how much fuel they're using. If they're all going to one place, there's no reason to take 6 trucks. So they're doing that. I think I've seen them all kind of buddying up instead of 3 different trucks with 3 different guys. So they're working on it. It's something that we're all facing. I think we're facing it in our personal lives too. So in your budget reports this time, you can see that our revenues are almost all higher than we projected for the year. That's a good thing. That's every revenue, whether it's our rentals, whether it's reimbursements from other people, things like that. Every revenue we have is above where we anticipated it. So that's a great thing for us this year. New this month in your packet is going to be a certification form. We've given you a bit of vendor history report so you can see in detail what's being spent monthly, what's being paid, when it's being paid, if it's on time, if it looks like this is your first month, but next month you can say, well, dang, last month the water was only $100. Why is it $300 this month? It'll kind of keep us on track. So you guys are aware of what we're spending and how we're spending it, and that those are getting paid on time. That's all I really have as far as the finance report goes. Do you guys have any questions?
No. Thank you.
So need a motion.
Okay. If there's no questions, I need a motion to approve the budget report.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget report for November 2021.
Second motion.
Motion by Trustee Archuleta, second by Mayor Pro Tem Brumbo. Trustee Baca,
Yes.
Trustee Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumbo,
Yes.
Trustee Archuleta.
Yes.
Acceptance of municipal court cash journal for November 2021.
This document's been put into your packet, so you can see that they received $1,058 in fines. They also broke out the cash and the money order for your review. And they provided you with a list of where those monies come from to add up to that amount.
to accept?
I make a motion to accept the municipal court cash journal for November 2021.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Brumbault, second by Trustee Lopez. Trustee Archuleta,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumbault,
Yes.
Trustee Lopez,
Yes.
Trustee Baca.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we move to the action discussion items, and we'll start with the resolution 2021-040.
I think we're gonna have to move that one too, Mr. Mayor, because that's accepting the audit after he makes his presentation.
Okay, so we'll move those two until the auditor comes in. So the next one will be resolution 2021-038 ARPA funding use.
Have to sit down for this one, if you guys are okay with that. So in your package, you will find resolution 2021-038 pertaining to premium pay for essential workers. The interim final rule states in section C, providing premium pay to eligible worker funds may be used to provide premium pay to employees who perform essential work. The Village of Milan recognizes that its employees have had to work abnormal hours and abnormal conditions with prolonged exposure to public interaction during this time. This entitles them as essential workers to premium pay under the American Rescue Plan. We've worked diligently, Linda, we have worked with the county and checked in to make sure that all the criteria is met for us to offer this. This will be a one-time payment. It isn't something that will continue on. If they have started after a certain date, then they're not eligible. If they are no longer employees, they're not eligible. So that's what we're looking at. If you look, there's an exhibit A in your packets, and that's how we broke it down to make it as fair as we could across the board and recognize the sacrifices that our employees are making during this craziness.
Yeah, and this is not a bonus. It's just a one-time payment.
You guys have any questions about how that all works?
This will actually be separate from their regular paycheck.
It will just be a one-time payment of premium pay. And there was two ways we could have done it. And we decided the cleanest way for us was to make sure that they met the criteria of how many hours they worked and that we wouldn't be exceeding the maximum that we can add in premium pay. So instead of adding that to their pay monthly, we're going to give them the one lump sum and just be done.
So what will happen is, once approved by the board, if you so choose, then we will notify the payroll company. They will process checks and send them to us to be distributed Monday.
We'll get them before Christmas.
Yes.
Are there any other questions?
I'll make a motion to letter C to approve resolution.
Trustee Baca,
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Archuleta.
Yes.
We have resolution 2021-039 budget adjustment.
A little on the ARPA funding that you guys just approved, the amount went down by $1,500. So that's all that changed in the budget adjustment. So if you look at our budget adjustments, the first three adjustments allow me to move the ARPA funds from contractual services where it was originally budgeted into COVID leave reimbursements and premium pay into the correct lines in both LGBMS and Tyler. The fourth budget adjustment on the page is for the 13,877 to increase the budget in projects, capital purchases, parks and fields, because we received a match waiver, so we need to adjust that. And that would be in both Tyler and LGBMS. And then the fifth and sixth adjustments are just internal adjustments. We will submit them to LGBMS so they're aware. This is just an adjustment where we're moving some health benefits that were budgeted in one department where nobody is using them into a department where people are using them. So that's just an internal adjustment. So if there's no questions, I just ask respectfully for your approval.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2021-039, bar 5.
Motion by trustee Lopez, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Brumble. Trustee Chuleta. Yes. Trustee Baca.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumble. Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have resolution 2021-037. EPF, amendment Airport Road.
This is the amendment to the resolution for Airport Road because we have been granted the match waiver. So this resolution just allows us to accept the match waiver.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2021-037 TPF amendment for the airport road.
I'll second that.
Motion by trustee Chuleta, seconded by trustee Baca. Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumble. Trustee Baca.
Yes.
Trustee Chuleta.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have the ordinance 272 cannabis.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, this ordinance was put together. We worked with the county and the city in order to get this ordinance together to allow us to regulate the cannabis. It regulates the location. It also regulates, I believe, some of the hours that operation can be done. It regulates the amount of plants that you can have and how they have to be kept. It also allows us to license a cannabis operation here in the village of Grants. And we worked with the county basically to make sure that everybody was on the same page. Denise, did you have anything further to add?
If no other questions, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 272 for the cannabis.
Motion by trustee Chuleta, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Brumble. Trustee Baca.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumble. Trustee Chuleta.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have ordinance 273 Pine.
So the ordinance that we had for pawnbrokers was done back in the 70s, needed some updates. So this basically just brings us up to date with our regulations to match what the state does. So this allows us to charge for licensing and regulate the traffic in and out. Make sure they're not doing any illegal things within the pawn shop. We don't have any pawns right now, but we may in the future, and this will prepare us just in case.
I'll make another motion to approve ordinance 273 for the pond.
I'll second that.
Motion by trustee Chuleta, second by trustee Baca. Mayor Pro Tem Brumble.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Baca.
Yes.
Trustee Chuleta.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have construction administration services complex Wilson and Company.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, whenever that was originally bid for the construction cost, the construction and engineering. We did not include the administration part of it. And in order to add that administration part, we have an agreement here that's in your packet for your approval today. Denise, do you have anything further? Okay. If you will notice that the contractual amount in total is $9,293.69. And we are requesting your approval for this.
Okay. You hear a motion?
Make a motion to accept the $9,292.69. Soccer team.
I'll second.
Motion by trustee Butler, second by trustee Chuleta, Mayor Pro Tem Rumble. Trustee Butler,
Yes.
trustee Lopez,
Yes.
trustee Chuleta.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have the Milan Fire Department COVID-19 policy.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, this policy was put together by the fire department. Although it's a standalone policy, it also goes hand in hand with the village's COVID policies. Daniel, do you have anything further to say about this?
No. On policy, it does stipulate that we have to have our own. And we did.
Right. I'll make a motion if there's nothing else for acceptance of the Milan Fire Department COVID-19 policy.
Motion by trustee Chuleta, second by Mayor Pro Tem Rumble. Trustee Lopez,
Yes.
trustee Baca,
Yes.
trustee Chuleta.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have a direction to staff to publish an ordinance increasing the minimum wage within Village of Milan and providing an effective date to modify the wage for certain employees.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, as you are well aware, the government has increased the minimum wage as a mandatory step. And we are obliged to increase those individuals that are below 1150 up to 1150, which will bring them up to the mandatory amount. Also, we're asking that you give us permission to and direction to publish this ordinance so that it can be completed and approved on the January meeting. It will allow us to bring other employees up to a increased wage above that are making in the neighborhood of $11.50 to an increased wage. Now, this is just a one-time request to do this because we do our budgeting usually for employees at the fiscal year. But we have gone through Candy and some of the members of the board and myself have gone, and HR has gone into the documents that we required to look at, and we are not going to be above budget. So Candy, do you have anything to add?
Like Linda said, we did go through the budget to make sure that these minimum wage increases are not going to hurt the budget. They were already budgeted, so we're just getting them up to where they are. Everything that we had discussed as far as increases are well within our budget, and we can make them happen.
Is it a large amount they're going to move to?
No, it's not.
1150 is where they're gonna be at in the bottom.
Is
We're
it
pretty
just
close to that.
1150?
So the minimum wage is going up to 11.50.
Oh,
and you can
okay.
explain that part.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Do you want me to? or-
Yes, please, go ahead.
Okay, so the minimum wage is going up to 11.50. In doing so, we have employees that have been here for 3 or 4 years that will be
Yeah.
making the same as employees that have been here for a few months. So it looks, there are certain employees that are going to go up.
Yeah.
Just to be fair.
Yeah.
And everything that we discussed, we went employee by employee. We looked at time served, how, how things are going, where we're at, and made sure that those raises were inside of our budget authority, so we can do that. And I didn't add a number of employees, I don't think to do it, so I apologize for that.
That's okay.
It's quite a few though, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I would say it was 10,
Maybe.
maybe 10.
I thought you were
Yeah.
It really wasn't very many.
Yeah,
If nothing else, then I'll make a motion to direct staff to publish an ordinance increasing the minimum wage within the village one and providing an effective date to modify the wage for certain employees.
I'll second it.
Motion by trustee Chuleta, second by trustee Lopez, Mayor Pro Tem Brumbault.
Yes.
Trustee Baca,
Yes.
trustee Chuleta,
Yes.
trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have direction to staff to publish an ordinance municipal bond fee.
Mr. Mayor, Board of Trustees, this is being done because the court come to us and said, when we have to incarcerate somebody, we're in the negative, that they do not have the funds to cover that incarceration. So this will help them in bringing up the fees. Plus the fees are very old. So we have put this together to allow the courts to charge more fees, municipal bond fees. This will not include their court costs though. So, and I believe the state legislators are looking at that to include another avenue as well as increasing the bond fee.
No, it looks good.
I was under the impression for some time though that the highest we could charge on any kind of court fee or any kind of charges on them was $500. Are we going above that now?
We have, what we did is actually put it together. We looked at it. We sent it to an attorney for approval. And we have found out that because the state is getting ready to vote on increasing the municipal court fees, that it wasn't added because if they increase it, well, the court will be able to go up, and if we have it in the ordinance, it will restrict them, or we'll have to do an upgraded ordinance. So, but the court fees are regulated by the state. Anything?
No. Make a motion to ordinance municipal bond fee.
I'll second.
Motion by trustee Baca, second by trustee Chuleta. Trustee Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumbault,
Yes.
trustee Chuleta,
Yes.
trustee Baca.
Yes.
Next, we have a soccer field change order approval.
I'm gonna ask that you guys table this item for the next, or actually, sorry. If we can give the manager direction. So what we have was the soccer field bid came in. And we didn't have both grants tied to it just yet because we just received one. So we asked them to do a change order to incorporate both grants into the funding and allow us to do the remaining items that were on our punch list that we had to take out last time. So we've requested a change order from the contractor to include those. So if I can get you guys to allow the manager direction to sign off on this once we receive it. I don't have a total amount just yet, but as long as we're within the grant money, we will not go over that.
And this change order will include allowing us to do the storage,
The storage.
laser the parking lot. I believe pave, well, we will not pave the parking lot. We were donated fines to
Yeah.
put into that lot,
We're
which
talking
we
about
have
walkway to
stored
the-
that.
The walkway to the storage area, right, or to the,
The walkway will be paid.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
the walkway, that's what
But
I'm
the
talking about.
parking,
Yeah.
The parking
the
lot.
parking
and
lot
the
that was
ones-
donated by the Mitchells, we're not gonna pave that, that would be an extreme cost. So what we're gonna do is either donate milling.
Right.
So that'll be mills. This will include the laser leveling for that area, so we can mill it down.
Sounds good.
And then once we have the laser leveling and the milling in, then the girls have already, Denise and Monica have already begun the process of getting the permit. They've been working on that for some time and we're just waiting on this part of this phase of the project to be funded so that we could open that up to allow people to come in. It hadn't been done prior because people have a habit of pulling in, playing in the mud.
So then this will be, we'll get our driveway into it.
Mhm.
Is that what the permit? is?
Yeah.
Okay.
The permit for the-
I make a motion to approve the change order for this officer.
Okay, so the motion isn't to approve the change order, it'll be to allow Linda to sign off on the change order.
Oh, okay.
So I'm making a motion for amendment to the
That's it.
By Mayor Pro Tem Brumble, second by Trustee Chuleta. Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Baca.
Yes.
Trustee Chuleta.
Yes,
Mayor Pro Tem Brumble.
Yes.
Next, we have the volunteer firefighter pay.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, I would like our fire chief to explain this. This is a grant that he's gone out to get and been awarded.
Mr. Mayor, Board of Trustees, this pay-per-call policy goes in hand with the grant that I was awarded for $25,000 from the State Fire Marshal's Office in the Homeland Security. That monies I can use to recruit volunteers and pay them like we've been doing, pay them per training and per call. It's also for educational. So I can use that to send them to the academy or to classes to get licensed and certified as firefighters. I needed they needed a policy in order to grant me this money. I did it, and I just need your approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the volunteer firefighter pay-per-call policy.
I'll second that.
Motion by Trustee Chuleta, second by Trustee Baca. Trustee Chuleta.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumble. Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Baca.
Yes.
Thank you. Can we do his now or you want it right after letter P?
It's totally up to you and your discretion.
Let's just finish this other two off and then we'll. Okay. Next, we have resolution 2021-036. NMFA loan fire department.
So as you all know, we've been trying to get additional money for the construction of phase 1 of the remodel for the fire department. This is a loan from NMFA in the amount of $510,000, which will allow us to complete that construction. The 170 that was spent by capital outlay has been committed to that project already. So this is just asking for your approval on the resolution, and the next item is the grant agreement, the loan agreement.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution 2021-036 NMFA loan for the fire department and also the agreement for NMFA loan. Or do I have to do
One at a time.
Okay, I'm sorry. So let's do the approval of the resolution 2021-036 NMFA loan for the fire department.
Motion by trustee Chileta, second by Mayor Pro Tem Brumble. Trustee Baca,
Yes.
trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Chileta.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumble. Thank you. Now we'll have the agreement NMFA loan fire department.
I'll also make the motion to approve the agreement for the NMFA loan fire department.
I'll second it.
Motion by trustee Chileta, second by trustee Lopez. Mayor Pro Tem Brumble.
Yes.
Trustee Baca,
Yes.
trustee Lopez,
Yes.
trustee Chileta.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we'll have the auditor's presentation.
Mayor and Council, thank you all for having us do your audit this year. This year went much better than last year. As you can see in your audit report, you have this year a clean opinion, unmodified opinion. In all honesty, it's due to Candy. She worked very hard, and that was the major difference between this year's audit and last year's audit, and you getting a clean opinion is Candy did that for you. She did a very good job. She worked very hard. So thank you, Candy. It was nice to actually have financials we can get opinion on. I'm going to start on this, roll through kind of fast. If you have any questions, go ahead and stop me. Page 16 and 17, it's your governmental funds. Just want to make note of something right here. Unrestricted cash is 1.7 million. You look at that. These are things I always look at when I look at financial statements. I'll compare that to page 20. Total expenses, 2.655 million. So I'm not seeing an issue here. You have well over 8 months of cash in your reserves. It's a good thing. I don't see anything of worry in these funds. You have adequate revenue over expenses in your general fund. So it's healthy. That's what this is telling me. Go to page 26, 27. This is your joint utility, water, sewer, solid waste. Inside of your utility, it does appear that cash balances are a bit low, having 275,000 on total expenses on the full accrual basis of 1.5 million. You can see an operating loss of 99,000. That's not a huge concern. What I'm seeing here is your cash balances appear to be a little bit low. Candy could probably tell you where they are more today, whether this is trend is how concerning it is. This is as of June 30th. So this information is 6 months old approximately. Another thing to look at here on page 29, you'll see net cash provided by operating activities, 81,000. That isn't bad, but what that number is doing is it's going to feed everything else. And you can also see transfers in of 160,000 came in from the general fund to subsidize your utility because you had lower cash balances and it appeared that it needed some help from the general fund. What we don't want to do is rely on that too much over time, because then it will take away resources from your public safety, public works, and your general governmental operations. Again, it just indicates you might need some upward pressure on your rates. That's all it is here. I'm not seeing huge concern when I see net cash provided by operating activity. It's negative or not high enough to service debt. You can see the debt service in here. Principal payments of 41,000, interest payments approximately 2,000. That is of higher and higher concern. Now, another thing noted in these financials, the debt in the joint utility that is securing that the joint utility secures is this debt should have been secured with GRT revenues because it was used for infrastructure purposes. Instead, you secured it with the joint utility, probably because they had to do with a water line going or a water diversion. I don't know why this ended up being secured with the joint utility. One thing you might want to look at, and you'll see the debt note. It starts on 45 for this, for governmental, business type funds is on 48. These two, this flood prevention and Sand Street Bridge. These don't relate to the utility. Really shouldn't be secured by utility revenues. not a huge concern, but something I want to point out. If we can, let's keep those utility revenues unencumbered unless we're going to do something to benefit the utility or the customers that use your utility services. And I understand aren't you all doing a large project and you're going to need these revenues to secure the additional debt. And if that's the case, you're definitely going to need upward pressure on your rates. And there's no doubt about it. And that's exactly what these financial statements tell me here. Another thing you might think of doing is moving these out of here and getting them refinanced and secured by GRTs. Something to look at. Your interest rates here are super, super low, or we could look at maybe doing an addendum just to get them off of the security from the joint utility and moving them to general GRT, any other type of revenue that secures these. Those are the main highlights. I went through these statements pretty quick. Any questions at this point? I will point out your non-major funds. They're on page 76, 77. These are all non-major funds. Non-major funds on these financial statements are in the back. Major funds are in the front. So you'll see the balance sheet on 66, 67, and you'll see that all the major funds is on 16 and 17. I point this out because you all have a substantial amount of cash at times for other funds. And you, instead of looking at your total cash balance of 2.7 million, a lot of this cash is restricted for very specific purposes. On 16, you'll see 452 for capital projects. And then all these other major funds, you'll see each classification for that fund itself. And one more thing, 82, these are all your checking accounts. I've talked to Candice, you are doing pooled cash. This is a very, very inefficient way to have cash in this many accounts. It's not effective. Your fraud risk is higher. If people do want to, if you have a mistake, intentional or unintentional, what we want to see is your ability to detect and correct within a very short amount of time. Having this many accounts isn't conducive to that thought process. And again, Candy is on the process of whittling these down, which is huge. It's a really, really big deal. It's a good way to better secure the resources of the village. And your findings, let's go to the findings, starting on page 88. You'll see the findings that have been resolved. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 findings that have been resolved. You have 4 findings that have been repeated. I'm not going to go and read them, but you resolving 4 findings and getting an unmodified opinion is huge. You will now have made substantial progress this year over last year, over the past few years. This is, again, you owe this to Candy for coming in here and getting the help. I remember before we recommended Michael Steiner come in, we recommended come in. Nothing happened. The main difference was you got a new finance director. She brought him in and she did the work that needed to happen to clean up your financial management system. Let's go through these findings. The first one, 2021-001 originated in 2020. It's all it is internal controls. We need, and what we want to see when we come and do an audit, we evaluate your internal controls. I want to see that people have the ability to detect and correct mistakes, misstatements, fraud, anything in their normal course of doing their assigned functions. And didn't have that throughout the year. From what I'm seeing, the progress, I imagine this finding will be gone this next year. And that's a big deal, but that's what we want. We want to protect the funds of the village of Milan to serve your community's highest and best uses. Next finding is relates to para. Now, I'm going fast. I'm not going to read these to you. It's all here, but I'm going to go give you the gist. If you have a question, slow me down. I'd be happy to talk about it further. Para and RHC, you have to report to para RHC timely. Not concerned about this finding. It's other non-compliance. If we see non-compliance, we are required to put it in this audit report, and there it is. Not a huge concern. You'll see at the end of the finding, it says other non-compliance. The first finding, you'll see what it said, the COSO framework, internal controls, says material weakness. That's the highest level of finding that we have the highest level of concern over. Other non-compliance, not very high concern. Next finding, the DFA cash. This is not, this is a other non-compliance. What it is, your cash at the DFA didn't match your cash within your trial balance. And what we want to see is the budgetary process, the cash you report to the DFA matches your cash. What it shows us is that you won't have adequate controls and people are adequately monitoring your budget. And there's a true thought process in what are my cash balances? What are my revenues? What are my expenditures? And it shows that someone's adequately reviewing your financials. And what we always want to see is beginning cash plus revenues minus expenses equals ending cash. You want to see that in your trial balance and within your budget. And we could say someone's monitoring all these revenues and expenses. So there's that. Your DFA cash, it's not like your cash in your trial balance was wrong. If it was, that would be a material weakness. This is other non-compliance. Next finding, lack of budgetary control. When your cash isn't right, again, we could see that your cash in the DFA wasn't right. You had some village monies that it was for debt service. That's what this. So this was village exceeded budgetary expense in the debt service by 174,000. Imagine this probably related to NMFA intercept. Is that correct?
Yes, and
So-
they didn't put the budget in the right line.
All right, not putting in the right line. So what happens is you all receive a bunch of money. A lot of that money is intercepted by the NMFA, doesn't run through here, but that is your money. And we need to budget the revenues and the expenses because there is material amounts of money sitting in the NMFA that is in the village of Milan's name. And that was a bit of an issue and the activity was recorded correctly, but the budget didn't get picked up. And it's, again, we want to see the budgets being adequately monitored. Very, very important. And that is the conclusion of my presentation with this audit. This audit bodes very, very well for the village. You all wanting to do very large projects in the future, this is what you're going to want. This is what you need. But you do need to focus on bringing up those revenues in your joint utility and looking at that debt I just talked about, either securing it somewhere else, or maybe we can look at how a way we can figure out how to reclassify it in these financials. Because when you go borrow money, they're going to go look at this statement that we just looked at. Your borrowers, the NMFA is going to turn to page 26, 27, and 29. They're going to look at what is your operating income loss? What is net cash provided by operating activities? They want to know that you can repay them. So that's it. Any questions?
No, thank you.
All right.
You answered a lot.
All right, cool. Well, thank you all very much. Very, very much appreciate working for you all. I'm happy you've made the progress because what you're doing is you're coming from a very high risk client of ours. You're becoming low risk. And that's what we want to see. We want to see all of our clients become low risk. That makes me sleep better at night. That bodes well for your community. And that means your people are doing their job and they're doing it well.
We
And-
haven't had that for a number of years.
You haven't. Another thing, as you get better, one thing I always stress in every audit and every exit conference and presentation is the tone starts with you all. And having respect to one another, having good working relationships is huge. And it starts here and it flows down to your head management and throughout your organization. And the most important thing is having respect for one another and not creating toxic relationships within governance and the employees, because that is the quickest way I've seen entities go down and us have substantial issues in these financial statements, all the way up to leading to a disclaimer of opinion, because your talent, when you lose talent, you have turnover, it's very detrimental to any organization.
I
Thank you.
completely
Very
agree
well
with that
said,
statement. I've always said, your employees make you look good as a boss. And that's just like these guys here, they make us look good because they're so good at what they're doing, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
And appreciate everything you just said.
All right, well, thank you all.
Transparency, that's what we're shooting for.
I appreciate you all putting the right people in the right places and doing well for your community. And that's what that's what this says.
Appreciate that.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much. Here's another copy of the audit.
All right.
All right, thank you, Candy. Thank you so much.
And you're gonna need a copy of the signed resolution.
I don't, but you
But
will
I
have,
have a
you will have to
checklist.
get one to DFA.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, we knew that.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks. Mhm.
I'd say,
We'll move down to letter B, resolution 2021-040, accepting fiscal year 2021 audit.
I'll make a
So,
motion.
NMAC 2.2.2.10 says that once the audit report is officially released and you have had your exit interview and everything is clear, then we need to approve the audit report by resolution. So
That's what we're
that's
doing
what
now.
I'm asking for.
Yeah, that's what we're doing now. That's what we're doing now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2021-039, budget. 040, sorry.
Motion by trustee Lopez, second by Mayor Pro Tem Brumble, trustee Chuleta,
Yes.
trustee Baca,
yes,
Mayor Pro Tem Brumble, trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have executive session pursuant to section 10-15-1H. The following matters may be discussed in closed session.
I make a motion to go into closed session.
I second,
Motion by trustee Chuleta, second by trustee Baca to go into closed session. Trustee Lopez,
Yes.
trustee Baca,
yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumble.
Yes.
Trustee Chuleta,
Yes.
thank you.
We're all going to sleep now.
We're not ready yet. We're waiting. on
Oh,
you.
Denise. To go back into open session.
I make a motion to reconvene the meeting.
I second.
Motion by trustee Chuleta, second by trustee Baca. Mayor Pro Tem Brambalo.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Baca.
Yes.
Trustee Chuleta.
Yes.
Motion regarding matters discussed in executive session limited to those specified in motion for closure, and that no final action was taken as per New Mexico statutes, section 10-15-1.
Make a motion to approve that no
Motion.
motion or anything was taken, no action was taken.
I second.
Second, trustee Baca.
Yes.
Motion by trustee Chuleta, second by trustee Baca. Trustee Lopez,
Yes.
trustee Baca,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brambalo, trustee Chuleta.
Yes.
Thank you. Now we move to action items. Continue professional legal services.
Mr. Mayor, Board of Trustees, this is an agreement because of the lawsuit that we're in with the tribes concerning our water rights. It is come to the point where we really should have a water attorney, and this agreement is for a water attorney. This individual has been working for water rights for years. And I'm asking that you approve the agreement. We're to the point where we have to submit a project to the state by the middle of January. And this project has to be a water project, and we have to submit the dollar amount as well that we are requesting from the lawsuit. So so that being said, I am requesting that you agree to contract Brent Olson as our water attorney.
I'll make a motion to approve the professional legal services of Brent Olson.
I second.
Motion by trustee Chuleta, second by trustee Baca. Mayor Pro Tem Brambalo,
Yes.
trustee Lopez,
Yes.
trustee Chuleta,
Yes.
trustee Baca.
Yes.
Thank you. Updates of village manager for all other departments.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, Board of Trustees, this is a packet that has a lot of information for all the departments. I have for the water department, public works, sewer, building maintenance and streets. And it is similar to a log of what has occurred during the month. So, and what I've done is I put these in your packet for your review at your leisure. So it include Rocking 66. And looks like Denise has projects in here.
Projects, recreation.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Dang.
So, and we've had our maintenance department submit pictures for your enjoyment.
No kidding. Sure makes me happy.
So I will stand for any questions you might have.
questions. You're doing a great job. We appreciate what you're doing
Thank
with,
you.
with all departments.
Thank you. Next, we have the fire chief.
Sounds a question.
Mayor, Board of Trustees, good evening or good morning. I'm confused sometimes. For the month of November, we had 121 total calls. Actually, today I was just reviewing with Michael, my assistant, and we hit 1,028 calls for the year. That's well over 200 calls compared to last year. So we're like 20% over. 11 fires, 53 calls for EMS and 3 hazmats. The other 67 were combination calls for service, good intents, false alarms, and special events. Ms. Manager, I apologize. I didn't send you my report, but I know you got it.
I'll forgive
Sooner or
you
later.
this time. Don't let it happen again.
Darn it. That black book is getting a whole chapter on me now.
I like that little black book.
We had a little ration of fires last month. We had the railroad ties that were on fire on the 3rd. That was where there in Grants at the BNSF rail yard. On the 4th, we had a camper trailer and truck fire at the Junkyard Brewery, also in Grants. I also assisted Red Cross with those displaced individuals on that fire. That's all they owned, and they just needed some help. On the 5th, we had an outside rubbish fire on New Mexico 117 in between Grants and Skyway. Somebody started some fires out there and some trash. On the 7th, it was all over Facebook and the news and everything that the old Route 66 hotel in Grants caught fire. People were saying about arsonists, it was started intentionally, but most of the time it's the transit trying to stay warm and they accidentally catch things on fire. We assisted them with some manpower and water. The 17th, we had the backhoe fire here at the village of Milan in the yard there. That one is still under investigation. I haven't gotten a ruling and I haven't got the reports. Those take forever, investigations like that. And I did have the fire marshal from the county come out right away to help me with the investigation. He in turn, because it was a village property deal, he went ahead and called out the state fire marshals to help investigate that too. So as soon as I hear back more on that, I will let Linda know. And Denise. On the 21st, we had that big chemical spill outside of Grants. We assisted with that, mainly with manpower. We couldn't put water on it, and it never caught fire. Everybody thought it was fire because of the smoke, and it was just actual chain reaction from the chemicals. Pretty bad stuff. It was really bad stuff. And we don't know where the driver went. Left the scene, and we don't know anything about the driver. We ended up putting about 20 hours in times two people on that whole fire, that whole incident. The highway was shut down, you guys know that, and we had to divert traffic. A big mess. The chemical company is going after them, after their insurance, and it's going to be well over $1 million. I was hoping to recover some of that for ourselves as well. I hope I still can. I talked with Linda about it, and it's in the makings, I hope. But I'm sure that chemical company is going to take everything before we get ours. On the 30th, we did have a porta potty at Mirabal Park with some damage due to a fire. Somebody lit a tiny little fire inside that porta potty. We turned it in. We made a report with the PD, and I don't know whatever happened with that. Just to be safe and to make sure that people using that are safe. when they go use it again. Still assisting the health department and Cibola County with COVID tests and vaccines. We're down to just doing them 1 day a week. We were exhausting too many resources, doing it 2 times a week because we were out there and we were only getting 15 to 30 people coming for a test or a vaccine. So they realized that we're wasting resources out there doing that when we need to be here doing our own stuff. So they brought it down to 1 week now. That new variant is in New Mexico, so they're saying it's more contagious. They're not. I don't know what to believe anymore. All I can say is guys stay as safe as possible. Keep doing what you're doing. That's the only advice we can give you.
Tanya, when you go down if you have to go get a COVID test, do you have to register first or you can just go down there?
For the Department of Health, for the Cibola County Department of Health, you have to register
You
online.
do?
Yeah.
And then it gives you your appointment time.
Yeah. And that way they can keep track of it too. Now you can go to Walgreens, Parkhurst. For COVID testing, I don't know if they do that. I don't think they do. They're just doing the vaccines. Now, I know the clinic and the hospital, you have to request an appointment. And they could be 2 weeks out. They're so busy. Thanksgiving was actually pretty calm. We only had some EMS calls. We're still dealing with heavy traffic at the truck stops, mostly in the evenings. And it doesn't matter what time of the week it is. We're trying to deal with that. And I talked with the owner of Spicy Bite, and he's working on some parking for these trucks. He was putting some asphalt down the other day. We ended up using a hydrant there for their construction, and I think Joe Ray or one of the guys caught it, and they put a meter on it because they were stealing water. And that hydrant was actually supposed to be down. The construction on the highway, guys, is still really, really bad. We're going to get that traffic. We're going to get that high volume of truckers in the parking lots down there on Motel Drive and Horizon. I've gotten with the night shift PD guys, and they're doing their best as they can. The businesses are calling them constantly to move trucks. And they can only do so much, so it's getting worse.
There was an accident today too by Sky City, wasn't there?
Yes.
It caused for delays and stuff too.
Yeah. Daily. We're getting accidents daily. Last night we had a couple.
Not just
Night
one.
before.
There's
Yeah.
numerous.
It's across the state now.
Yeah.
I-40 corridor through New Mexico is very bad.
People coming out of the houses, they come out of drive.
No, they have no
I tell you,
manners.
I honestly, they're
Is the
giving,
majority, are they semis? The majority of these crashes are involved with semis? Is that what it is?
they're always a semi.
That's what's scary.
Me personally, I was coming back from Albuquerque and I was doing 80 miles an hour. I'm not gonna lie, I was speeding 80 miles an hour, and I had a trucker pass me.
Yeah.
So he was doing over 80.
Wow, yeah.
I don't
Don't
think
run
companies
over
are
you.
giving they're governing their trucks. And then a lot of these guys, they can't even read or write English. They're using phones. When I go talk to them on EMS calls, they're using a phone interpreter type thing. I don't know how they're getting their driver's license. I don't know how they're getting their Class A commercial licenses. I think companies are just, here's a license, go to work. That's my opinion.
That's what they're all saying at the truck stops.
Yeah. It's getting bad. We're still doing burn permits. It's working out really well. I've seen a lot of improvement on the village, empty lots. The code enforcement gives them a written notice, and those guys are starting to act on it and giving them a burn permit to let them just pile it up and burn it and do it safely, which is a really good deal. I want to give kudos to the streets department and those guys. We had the power poles here a couple days ago fall down in the median. I wasn't notified, PD wasn't notified to dispatch about the hazard. We took care of that with dispatch, but these guys jumped on it and they got barrels and they started diverting traffic and protecting the public. Those guys they were on it, and I give them lots of credit. Miss Linda even went out and took an eyeball look and saw those guys in action, so they did a really good job. I'm proud of them. Other than that, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a safe one. Do you guys have any questions?
Like
Save them
you-
for later.
I would like you all to know, you've seen the list of places that these fire departments have gone in order to protect and assist other entities and the public. They still make sure Milan is covered.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Next, we have Sergeant Vallejos, who will be doing the police report.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Board of Trustees. Start off during the month of November, Police Department had 228 calls for service. 107 of those are offense reports. We had 11 arrests, 20 traffic stops, 6 auto accidents, 8 alarm calls, 18 medical calls, 383 area checks, and 35 business checks. Totaling regional dispatch, that was 787 calls for the month of November. Average response time to a call was 1 minute and 21 seconds, which was 4 seconds off our fastest time for the year. Officers had a major call in the area and worked together to gather evidence, information, and contacting resources. A search warrant and arrest warrant were obtained and coordinated with CCSO tactical team, led to the arrest of a violent offender of the community. Laptops are still not in. We don't know when they'll arrive.
They're in the water.
I think they were supposed to be here in October or something like that, so. Still waiting. I don't know if you guys seen Channel 7, Channel 13, our flock cameras were featured on the news for stolen vehicles. APD, the lead prosecutor for New Mexico has been trying to get APD on board with these cameras. So for us being a small village, they took an interest on wanting to come down here and interview and see what we were up to. And also it was featured at the New Mexico Police Conference that just took place now in December 8th and 9th. And they were also featured there at that conference for the village of Milan. We have assisted CCSO with their required biennium training. Our two newest officers, Salazar and Pacheco, are doing a great job and are a great asset to our community. And on a kind of lighter note, our kindergarten basketball team is 2-0. It's been very interesting coaching them and interacting with the kids. So that's been a pretty cool thing for us. To get back to what Chief Yosta was saying about porta potty being burned, we kind of know who it is. He's in jail now. We don't have the strong evidence to put it to him, to charge him with anything, but we pretty much know it's him, and it hasn't happened now. We did have another drive-by shooting took place on the county side. We did assist them with that. It was right on the borderline on Tejan Street. No arrest has been made by county as far as I know.
Are they aiming for somebody specifically, or they're just driving by and shooting?
This last one, I believe that county, what they're saying is these people moved from Grants. They come over here and it's happened to them in Grants and it's happened to them in Blue Water. Now they're in the Milan area, which is on the county side. We did have one on our side that took place at Escondido Park. An arrest was made on that one for that shooting there. I won't get specific names or anything like that, but arrest was made. That's all I got, unless you guys have any other questions for me.
Thank you. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, yes, we're still under the 10 o'clock PM curfew. which I haven't gotten too many people, too many of the officers at night when I relieve them in the morning. They're saying that it's been quiet. There haven't been too many people walking around. So that's a good thing. Also, just let me add to that traffic thing at Petro. It is ridiculous and we're doing the best we can. Sometimes there's only one of us on. So the other day I was by myself, I had to clear it like 4 times and that was during the day. And that was on a Monday or Tuesday. So trying to clear like 40 truckers from that road on Motel Drive to have a passageway, it takes a little time. So we're doing the best we can on that. Yeah.
Do you think that we need signs or signage or more signage?
Well,
or-
Jack, I believe he got us the signs. I mean, I don't know how much bigger we could get those signs. I mean, it's pretty much common sense when you see the no parking. And also to get back where he says these guys use the interpreter, most of these truck drivers know what we're talking about. They know English, they talk English. They play the dumb part pretty much. But when you tell them and you call them out on their theme, they'll say, okay, I'm moving right now, you know. They changes. They do speak English. They do know what they're talking about. But most of them use that because they think we don't know. So, any other question?
When they catch them doing wrong stuff on the interstate, like the state police, do they get to confiscate their vehicles, their trucks?
State police?
Yeah.
There's times, it just depends on the situation.
Okay.
As far as us giving them citations, like I said, if we're clearing 30 trucks, we're not gonna sit there and write one citation and have it cluttered. We're just starting to move them out of there. I want to throw kudos out to our mechanic Jules. I believe that's his name.
Yeah.
I've been here almost 9 years, and this guy he's unbelievable. He's pretty good, and I just want to throw kudos out there to him, and he's doing a very good job.
And the work he did there on that truck.
Yeah, he's really good with us, and I guess pretty much the whole village. So kudos to him, and also to the new guy. I don't know his name. I haven't met him yet. He's the one that's done all the lights. So kudos to him. I don't know what is his name.
Great.
Great. Kudos to him. So he's doing a good job. And I see that out there when I'm out there. So any other questions?
Thank you, sir.
You gonna start a team next year, Daniel? Kindergarten basketball team. Let's go ahead there.
Okay, let's move to the board comments. Start off with trustee Lopez.
I just want to thank all the employees. All of you guys are deserving of that one-time premium pay for essential workers. It's something that really is needed. COVID numbers are up. Everyone stay safe for the holidays and have happy holidays.
Trustee Baca.
I want to give a special thank you to our manager, Linda Cook, and our finance manager that we have now in place, Candy Williams. Happy birthday today. I'm amazed at our mechanic, Jules. I think that is awesome what he's come and done for us. I pray he don't leave. I want to thank all the departments for everything they've done for this last 2 months. Everybody has worked so hard and done so much improving. And I give credit to that little black book that Miss Linda carries and how she's handled everything. I'm just thrilled to death. I want everybody to have a safe Christmas and a safe New Year's. Be safe, take care of your health. Thank you.
Trustee Archuleta.
Just want to echo what the lady said. Thank you guys all. Thank you guys for sticking it out. I know we went through a rough patch there for a while and it was hard. But it just shows how faithful you guys are to the village. And you know, this little bit of premium money, it's not much, but I mean it's a step towards what you guys deserve. You guys, like the auditor said earlier, you guys are what makes this village work, and we've said that for a while now. And I think as the board, we're getting to where we want to be, transparent as far as leadership in the village. So hopefully, whenever next March comes, hopefully all that stays intact. Whoever comes in, hope they come in with the same mindset. Other than that, Merry Christmas. Thank you guys for all your hard work. Happy birthday, Candy.
Thank you.
That's all I got.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumbo.
Well, you said everything, so I'll just say, I too am very proud of everybody's hard work and you guys make us look good. I can't say how much I appreciate all the hard work that you do. And I just want everybody to have a happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, be safe.
Thank you. I want to start out by also wishing Candy a happy birthday. It's wonderful to see somebody that young be that smart. And Happy New Year and Merry Christmas to everyone, to the citizens of the village of Milan, to all the employees of the village of Milan. Enjoy Christmas with your families. I myself will be spending time with my families in presence. And with that comes the food that we normally enjoy for Christmases. And don't forget that in New Mexico, when you have mashed potatoes, you use red chili for instead of gravy. You use red chili for the mashed potatoes. As you heard, the village had a great audit. And thanks to all the employees, they're the ones that make it happen. Everyone did a great job. Our end of the year finances are in good shape. Again, thanks to the employees, especially the ones that are in charge of our finances. Our projects are being completed one at a time. Some are done, others are just getting started, while others are in the planning stages. I think our citizens can see progress in our village, from the bridges, the roads, and the parks. This is a time of season for giving, so if you can, please donate to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Also, when you see a veteran, thank her or him for their services. God bless America, and may God continue to bless the village of Milan. And with that, we go to the announcements. All village offices will be closing early on December 22nd at 3 p.m. and will be closed on December 23rd and 24th, 2021 for the Christmas holiday. Planning and zoning meeting January 6th, 2022 at 4:30 p.m. Board of Trustees workshop January 13th, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. And Board of Trustees regular meeting January 20th, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. And now I entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Brumbo, second by Trustee Buckman. Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Chuleta.
Yes.
Trustee Baca.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumbo. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.